You want to understand the book Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman, an Israeli-American psychologist and Nobel laureate in economics. This is a groundbreaking work that synthesizes decades of research to explain how our brains work and how we make decisions, revealing the systematic errors in thinking that we often fall prey to. To summarize 20% of the content to help you understand 80% of the book's core message, we will focus on the central model of two cognitive systems that Kahneman proposes, System 1 and System 2, the two characters in your brain. This is the central idea of the entire book. Kahneman describes human thought as being governed by two imaginary characters. System 1. Fast thinking operates automatically and quickly with little or no effort and no sense of voluntary control. It is your instinct and intuition. When you hear a loud noise, System 1 instantly makes you turn your head. When you see an angry face, it immediately recognizes the emotion. When you solve a simple math problem like 2 plus 2, the answer appears instantly. Pros: efficient, helps us make quick decisions in daily life. Cons: easily fooled, subjective, and prone to systematic errors. System 2. Slow thinking, more complex, requiring attention, concentration, and effort. It is the process of logical thought, reasoning, and conscious self-control. When you solve a complex problem like 17x24, System 2 is activated. When you try to remember an old friend's name or when you have to parallel park, you are using System 2. Pros: more accurate, capable of solving complex problems. Cons: lazy, easily distracted, and energy-intensive. System 1 operates continuously and automatically, providing suggestions to System 2. System 2 often accepts these suggestions without re-evaluating them unless it encounters a difficult problem or an obvious error. This explains why we often make mistakes in our decisions without even realizing it. A large part of the book is dedicated to exploring how System 1 leads us to systematic thinking errors, known as biases. Confirmation bias: the tendency to selectively search for information that confirms existing beliefs. If you believe a stock will go up, you only pay attention to positive news and ignore negative news. Anchoring effect: relying too heavily on the first piece of information. A salesperson gives a very high initial price as an anchor, making a subsequent lower price feel like a great deal. Affect heuristic: we let emotions influence judgments. Things you like seem less risky and more beneficial, and vice versa. Overconfidence bias: we tend to be overly confident in our judgments. Most people believe they are safer than average drivers. The book shows these cognitive errors are not a sign of lack of intelligence but rather shortcuts that System 1 uses to save energy. We need to recognize their existence to make smarter decisions. Kahneman offers an interesting perspective on the relationship between us and ourself. He distinguishes between two types of self: the experiencing self, living in the present, feeling every moment; the remembering self, looking back on the past, synthesizing experiences to tell a life story. The remembering self often dominates decisions. We don't choose a life based on experiencing the most joy, but on creating beautiful memories. Many endure difficult trips if they have beautiful endings. In summary, the 20% core content of Thinking Fast and Slow is the two-system model of thinking. System 1 is fast and intuitive, and System 2 is slow and logical. System 1 tends to make quick decisions but is prone to systematic cognitive errors like confirmation bias and the anchoring effect. Successful decision-making requires learning when to let System 1 work and when to engage System 2 for careful consideration. The book's goal is not to eliminate intuition but to help us become wiser by recognizing its limitations.